Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another live stream. I hope you're all doing well on this Tuesday morning. How are we doing, people? Hope you're all good. Let me know where you are watching from today. Let me know what you're up to today. And above all, let me know what you're thinking football-wise. We are obviously here mainly to talk about football, of course. We are going to be diving into some Liverpool content today. We're going to be talking more about the position of Arne Slot. We're going to be recapping some of the Burnley game and also previewing the game that is upcoming in the Champions League. The Champions League resumes again this week, people, and Liverpool are in action against Marseille tomorrow night. So that's all going to be coming up, as well as obviously anything that you guys want to talk about as well. So like I say, with all of these videos and live streams, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new. Both things are always and probably be greatly appreciated. And of course, get involved in the chat. Get involved in the chat, people. Would love to hear from you all on what you have to say about any of those topics and more as we dive into this stream. But yes, like I say, first and foremost, hope we're all doing good. Let's talk some Liverpool. Let's talk some Liverpool. It's been a strange few days for Liverpool. It's been mainly, personally for me, not a happy few days. The Mark Gay situation playing out as it has done over the weekend, coupled by dropping points once again to relegation fodder in Burnley. It's not been a great few days. And yet here we are, Tuesday the 20th of January 2026. Arne Slot is still in charge. Liverpool are about to go into the 7th of 8 Champions League games in the league phase. And we also have Bournemouth coming up away from home this weekend. Liverpool are currently on a 12-game unbeaten run in all competitions. I think 9 of them, I'm pretty sure it's 9 now, that are in the Premier League unbeaten. Let me just double check, sorry. Sorry, 10 of those, unbeaten in the league. It is the most underwhelming and uninspiring unbeaten run that you will ever probably see in your lives. But yet, that is the reality of the situation. Big up Nems is in the building. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Lovely to have you here with us. Hope you're doing well on this Tuesday morning. Big up to you, sir. I say it's the most underwhelming unbeaten run that you will ever see in your lifetime. And yet, Arne Slot is still our manager. There are now options either coming up to being available or are available right now that we could possibly explore. But yet, FSG, Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes are all backing the manager, it seems, as of right now. Giving every last minute of hope, faith in this manager. Even though the performances have been dire, even though the results have been underwhelming, on Saturdays, I still stand by what I said in my reaction video. I don't think Saturday's draw to Burnley was entirely on Slot. I think there are one or two things that maybe you can criticize Slot for in terms of maybe not making substitutions early enough and that kind of thing happening. But for the most part, I do think it was mainly on the players. I think it was mainly on the finishing of the players being so poor as to why as to why we didn't win that game. played all right in the first half especially. But, you know, that's how far the bar has fallen in terms of when we play all right against a relegation side. That's how far the bar has fallen. It's taken us over halfway through the season and to play 19th place Burnley to actually play all right football, apparently. That's just how far the bar has fallen. That's how far our standards have fallen. And that is the reality of the situation. And yet, here we are, like I say, in the middle of January. We've lost Semenyo. We've lost Gahey for really good money. Both of those players could have been brought in for really good money. We've lost both of them players, and we're still with Slot. If obviously we're looking at the transfer window in isolation, the only way to save the window would be just replacing Arne Slot with Xabi Alonso, in my personal opinion. But it's probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen, people, unfortunately. Well, thanks, and Yuji. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to know that you're all doing well as well. So big up yourself, my friend. Lovely to have you here with us. Xabi Alonso will save the season. He's available right now. I don't understand why we're not going for him. Big up Bendejo. I'm pronouncing that name right. He says, look at me. I am the captain now. Big up to yourself, my friend. Lovely to have you here with us. But yes, 19th place Burnley at Anfield managed to stump Liverpool to a 1-1 draw, meaning Liverpool have not taken any points at home against the three newly promoted sides. Sunderland drew, Leeds drew, Burnley drew. You do realize, people, that big up to you, my friend. I'll always read out the comments. We need Paul this season. 6-7 says I eat cake. Good for you, my friend. Again, can we leave the 6-7 meme in 2025, people? Come on. It doesn't make any sense. I gave you a thumbs up. Really do appreciate that, my friend. Really glad to have you here. Hope you're doing well. You realize, though, that if we'd have beaten those sides in this unbeaten run, we'd have had 6 more points. And those 6 points would have put us 1 point behind second and third place Aston Villa and Man City. 8 points behind Arsenal. And that's not even taking into account the draws that we suffered to likes of Fulham and Sunderland. And even the other Leeds game. We would have been even closer. We would have been better. We would have even been second in the table. That's just how far the standards have fallen. It's 2026. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, leave the 6-7 stuff in 2025. Like, no need to bring that up here. No need. Like I say, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever anyway. But yes, we would have been even closer to Arsenal right now than what we would have been. Our standards have completely fallen. We are now in mediocrity in terms of fighting it out amongst these other teams that are in and amongst us in this cluster of teams that are jockeying for position in terms of some kind of European football. You know, Man United won at the weekend against Man City in circumstances that were somewhat unforeseen, I guess. I don't think a lot of people probably put United to beat Man City, in all honesty, but that's obviously what occurred. Chelsea beat Brentford, who are another team that are in and amongst those cluster of teams. Newcastle drew to bottom of the table Wolves. A good point for Wolves, but shocking from a Newcastle perspective. Sorry, sorry if you're listening, you know who you are. And obviously Sunderland are around. Everton obviously picked up a massive win against Aston Villa at the weekend. So there's a large cluster of teams that are in and amongst us that are waiting for us to slip up. And slipping up against Burnley is a slip up. Massive banana skin. Massive banana skin that we did not navigate past, that we should have put away. And it's terrible. It really is terrible. Like I say, I don't think we played terribly in the first half. But again, it just shows you how far the standards have fallen, that any sort of positivity in this season is basically based off an extremely low bar that previously has been set by the amount of games in which Liverpool have been pouring, in which Liverpool have probably not deserved to pick up wins, but we have picked up wins. For example, Tottenham, the Tottenham game. We did not deserve to win that game, but we did. All of a sudden, we go to Burnley. We play somewhat better, but we don't get the win that we desperately needed. But yeah, here we are. And this is why I say, this is why Liverpool need to act. We need to act. Because if you're not buying anybody in this transfer window, at what point do you think that this is going to improve? The performances are going to improve. At what point do you think that way? Because we've been waiting 22 games in the Premier League for performances to improve at a consistent, sustainable level. Even more so when you consider that we've had a couple of Carabao Cup games, 6 Champions League games, a Community Shield game, and 1 FA Cup game. When you add all of those games together, and you can tell the performances have not been sustainable. Okay, there've been some good performances here and there. The Frankfurt game was good. The Real Madrid game was good. The Aston Villa game was good. The Arsenal game that we battled to a 0-0 draw was good. And even the 1-0 Arsenal win was okay to an extent. And then you look at other games as well and you go, well, there was a couple of spells here and there. There was a good half against Everton in the first half. There was, a good 70 odd minutes or so against Atletico Madrid or whatever. Nothing sustainable, nothing consistent. And yet here we are over halfway through the season going, well, nothing's improving, nothing's sustainable, nothing's picking up. Where do we go from here? And if you're not going to buy anybody to try and help this situation, at what point, why don't we just throw in a towel now of the season? Why don't we just throw the towel in now of the rest of the season? Because does anybody genuinely think we're going to win the Champions League? I don't. I think if we go to Bayern, if we go to PSG, we're going to get absolutely destroyed by those teams. Anyone think they're going to win the FA Cup? Again, I don't. I think I think we've got a difficult draw as it is against Brighton. But even if we navigate past Brighton, if we pick up a City, an Arsenal, even like a Chelsea maybe at Stamford Bridge, as much as obviously Chelsea might be in the mud right now, a little bit, at least anyway, still going to be extremely difficult games for us to navigate past. And there are only 2 realistic options at trophies. The Premier League is over and done with, in my opinion. The FA Cup is difficult to navigate through, but might be our best hope of a trophy, depending on the draw that we get round to round, if we can get past Brighton, that is. Champions League, we'll probably make it to the knockout phases, but beyond that point, it's anybody's guess. And then if or when we do get a Barcelona, a Bayern Munich, or a PSG, that's curtains as far as what that's concerned. We have gone into this season as Premier League champions, spending 450 odd million, and we're coming out with it empty-handed. That is unforgivable. Absolutely unforgivable. And the worst part about it is that the opportunity partway through the season to make sure that doesn't happen is right there for the taking. Now, the only way to maybe, and I'm saying this, maybe, by the way, hit the like button and subscribe, guys, if you're in the building. Appreciate you all being here on this Tuesday morning, and I hope you're all doing well. The only way to partially save this, and I'm not necessarily completely happy or on board with it, the only way to necessarily save this may be if you can guarantee that at the end of this season, Luis Enrique leaves PSG and he's definitely going to go to Liverpool. If that is definitely going to happen, that is the only thing that I will say, okay, you are probably right to wait. You are probably right to write off the rest of this season and wait for a manager who I believe is a better option than Xabi Alonso. The only option, in my opinion, that is better than Xabi Alonso. That is the only. That's the only. That is the only option, in my opinion. The only option better than Xabi Alonso is Luis Enrique. If you can, guarantee me that, then I can at least somewhat understand. But do I have hope that that will be the case? Do I think that will be the case? Probably not. Good morning, Dean. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Says, good morning, Vetch. I'm dreading the next two games. We could easily lose the next two. Yeah, we very much. I mean, I don't go into any game confident anymore, bro. I really don't. Marseille is going to be difficult. It's going to be away from home. It's going to be very hostile. And De Zerbi has got them playing some excellent football. De Zerbi has got Marseille playing some excellent football, and we don't handle that. We don't handle teams playing excellent football against us. So we could be absolutely torn to shreds on Wednesday. I am really not looking forward to that game. And then against Bournemouth, look, Bournemouth are not on a great run right now, but that's not to say that they couldn't turn up on Saturday, especially being at home. It's not going to, again, it might not be another pleasant game for us. It really might not. Big up Liverpool fan. How you doing? Well, my friend. Lovely to have you here with us. Big up Lawrence, who says that Liverpool are the beta club. Oh, best club. I gotta say, those are two very different meanings, bro. But I mean, I want to agree with you on them being the best club. But we're not really acting like it right now, I'm afraid. Big up yourself. Slot is destroying this club, to be honest. Will he prove himself to the league? Like I say, man, it's so crazy how a year in football can change a lot. This time last year, Liverpool were looking at the second half of the season with plenty of optimism. Carabao Cup, I believe at this point, we just I want to say we just beat Tottenham in the second leg, or we were about to beat Tottenham in the second leg. So we were looking at the Carabao Cup final. Obviously, the FA Cup, we were against Plymouth in the 4th round. Premier League, we're well on top of that. And, of course, the Champions League, we were on top of that as well. And going into the final game of the league phase with nothing to lose, nothing to gain, and looking forward to obviously who we'd get in the knockout stages. A year later, we're going to be struggling to make the automatic places in the Champions League, depending on how our final 2 games go. We're out the Carabao Cup. The FA Cup has thrown us a tricky encounter with Brighton. And the Premier League, to say that we've obviously spent a lot of money in the summer, our race is already over before it even began. So it's insane to me. And like I say, this is a manager who has had so much given to him, more than any other manager that I can remember, even Jurgen Klopp, in one transfer window. To come out of it empty-handed is in my opinion unforgivable. To play the kind of and to come out empty-handed wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing if there was a better team than us. There shouldn't be a better team than us, because we should be playing the kind of football that is electric, the kind of football that is exciting to watch. If we were playing that, taking our chances, scoring goals, we'd be fine, in my opinion. But we're not. We're not taking chances. We're not playing good football. We're struggling. We are struggling. And this was meant to be the run that was meant to be favourable to us to get our season back on track. But it's not been that way because we've struggled. We've struggled. We concede stupid goals. We go to sleep at times. We play some sloppy stuff. Our second half FC used to be incredible. Our second half FC used to be play mediocrely in the first half and then really turn it up some notches in the second half. This time around, it's the opposite. And even then, our first half performances are not that great. They're just better than our second half performances in comparison. And it's like, that's because the bar isn't exactly set high. The bar's not exactly set high. So it looks better than what it actually is. It's really, really poor all round. And it's really, really frustrating. And like I say, at some point, you've got to look at the board at being completely negligent in terms of not making the right decision to benefit Liverpool Football Club. I personally don't see a world in which Arne Slot turns it around. I don't see a world in which Arne Slot can improve us to a point where we are consistent and sustainable. But I could see for the long term a man like Xabi Alonso doing that. A man that was so poorly treated at Real Madrid, even though he had a great win record, even though he'd only just taken over at the club. He was treated so badly at Real Madrid. It's not through failure that Alonso didn't succeed at Madrid. It's through an extreme high what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for? For having extremely high standards and a very thin margin of error that Xabi Alonso didn't succeed. Didn't have the long-term impact that he was probably hoping to have at Real Madrid. That's the reason why it didn't work out for him at Real Madrid. But over at Liverpool, we'll treat him like royalty. Treat him like royalty. Treat him with the utmost respect that a Liverpool legend like him deserves, warrants. It's something that definitely needs to happen, in my opinion. Like I say, unless you can guarantee that Luis Enrique is coming in the summer, go for Alonso right now. Go for Alonso right now. He's the second best option out there. He is possibly, in terms of the managerial game, the next best thing. And that might be a big statement, but look at what he's done in Germany. Look at the short amount of time he spent with Real Madrid. Absolutely incredible. And yet, this opportunity might pass us by. And I don't want to be sat here in a year's time or 18 months' time regretting not taking that opportunity that was basically presented on a silver platter in front of us, only for us to turn it down and say, no thanks, we're sticking with this manager who has had a lot of money thrown at him, only for him to not succeed, only for him to flop, only for him to produce some of the most boring football us Liverpool fans have ever seen in our lifetime. And on top of that, produce an unbeaten run of form, which is uninspiring, somewhat undeserving, and very, very lackluster. Very, very lackluster. It is so boring, so draining. And you can tell the boos at Anfield at the weekend. It's not exactly been an unknown fact that Slot has been losing the Anfield crowd. Not just the online crowd, but the Anfield crowd for some time. That on Saturday is telling. Extremely telling. Because as much as I personally think that the majority of the blame was on was on the players in terms of their poor finishing. If it was a one-off game, the boos wouldn't be there. If it was a one-off game, it would be frustrating that we couldn't beat a relegation team. But guess what? Those games happen from time to time. Look at Arsenal. They drew and dropped points to Forest. Some Arsenal fans are going to go crazy because some of them are like Arteta outers, and some of them just like to seek doom and gloom wherever is possible. But for the vast majority of the Arsenal fans, it's like, oh, that was really frustrating. But you know what? Those games kind of happen. And us as Liverpool fans, we know that those games happen because last season we had those games happen. We lost to Nottingham Forest in our only game before we lost in, again, April or end of March to Fulham. We drew to the likes of Newcastle away from home. We drew to Fulham. We know that those games happen every single season, whether you are top of the table, mid-table, or at the bottom of the table. Those games happen every so often. So if it was a one-off game, the boos wouldn't be there. But guess what? It's not just about a one-off game. It's not just about an isolated incident in a vacuum. It's about the entire bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that this unbeaten run right now is the only crutch that this man is standing on in terms of not being sacked straight away. Simple as that. Simple as that. It's the only thing he's got going for him right now. And even then, it's not good enough. Deport yourself. I don't really know what to say to that, to be honest. I am from this country. I was born and raised in this country. Strange comment, my dude, but big up, Eric. Hope you're doing well, my friend. You seem to have some issues. If Slot doesn't bench Gakpo, we will keep dropping points. You want to know what the funny thing is? Funny thing is, he actually took him off on Saturday. That was the surprising thing. He took him off and put Engamoa, of all people, on. That was like mind-boggling as to how and why he did that. But yeah, I do agree. I feel like we should see more Engamoa, less Cody Gakpo. And my hope would be when Isak does return, Ekitike out wide and Isak up front. Ekitike out wide, Isak up front. Accommodate for them both, and the interchange and fluidity I think you will see from Wirtz and Ekitike in particular, and obviously Isak to an extent, would be something that I think would be unpredictable and crazy. But obviously, we have a manager that plays with a handbrake on. We have a manager that doesn't like to play an adventurous style. We have a manager that doesn't like to play them three. And we have a manager that likes to think that Cody Gakpo is like the second coming of Jesus or something on a football pitch, because he can't be dropped, apparently, unless he's injured. And I bet even when he was injured, Slot was like hoping and praying and doing all sorts of like voodoo witchcraft stuff to try and get him to be fit and available. But yeah, is what it is. Anfield used to be fire for most opposition teams, not anymore. Yeah, we've lost our edge there. We've lost our edge at home. Teams don't fear us anymore. Teams really, really don't fear us anymore, and that's the incredibly annoying thing. I mean, most teams, if they were to go a goal down, would kind of shut up shop and go, let's just not get absolutely embarrassed. That doesn't happen now. I mean, Burnley would have done that if it was the Burnley of old. As soon as that goal goes in at the weekend, they probably shut up shop and go, right, let's just not get absolutely humiliated here. But they kept going and they got back into the game, and yeah, they got back into the game and somewhat deserved. I mean, I'm just looking at our home and away table right now. We're 8th in both. We're 8th in both our home and away tables. 6 win, 6 I can't even speak. 6 wins, 3 draws, and 2 losses at home. 4 wins, 3 losses. 3 draws and 4 losses away from home. We are 8th in the home table and the away table. It's simply put not good enough. United are on the same amount of points as us on the home table, but they've got a better goal difference than us. Newcastle are above us, and we all know how awkward Newcastle season's been. Brentford are in 4th in the home table, and the only 2 unbeaten teams at home are obviously Arsenal and Sunderland. Away, Palace have got a better away form than us, and their wheels have completely come off their season in recent weeks. Everton are better than us away from home this season. That is criminal, to say the least. Everton are better than us away from home. And, of course, Tottenham, who until recently had the best away form in the Premier League. It's all criminal. It's all criminal. It's all criminal. Big up Tony is in the building. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Lovely to have you here with us. Says Morning Fletch. I need this slot dead football nightmare to end. So many fans, me included, don't have the energy for games anymore. And you know what, mate? Could not be any more spot on if you tried. I don't have any enthusiasm for Liverpool anymore. I have very little enthusiasm for Liverpool. I should be excited that we've got a Champions League game tomorrow night. I should be really looking forward to a challenge away from home in France, in Marseille. And I'm not. At least I've got very little enthusiasm for it. I'm looking around at other Champions League games and I'm going, you know what? That might be interesting. That might be exciting. Oh, we've got us coming up. Great. Because The only entertainment is going to be from Marseille and De Zerbi, because De Zerbi plays some really nice and attractive football. Easy on the eye, looks very, very good. He's even got Højbjerg. You remember Højbjerg? He's even got him playing in a system that plays nice football. We can't even get the likes of McAllister, Gravenberch, Wirtz, Ekatike, Soboslai. We can't even get them to play nice football. And he's getting players like Højbjerg to play good football. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, please. But yes, that's where the entertainment is probably going to be coming from. We're going to try and do everything to disrupt them. We're going to try, sit deep, do our usual thing, play boring football, slow the game down. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. It's gonna be an interesting one, but it is what it is. Feline Gaming says King Cobra UK version. I'm sorry, I don't understand the reference, I'm afraid. Don't understand the reference, I'm afraid. So that one went way over my head. Damn, Harry Potter's had it rough after graduation. Still talking about Quidditch. I'm not that posh for Quidditch, I'm afraid. Not that posh for Quidditch. But yeah, how are you doing well, my friend? I hate saying this, but I don't see a world where Liverpool have Champions League football next season. I think the likelihood is that the Premier League do get 5 spots in the Champions League. Obviously, first down to 5th. We're not going to win the Champions League, so we're not going to qualify through that gateway. I want to be positive and say that at the very least we get top 5. But I don't know. I really don't know. It's so open because everybody is so inconsistent. It's such an inconsistent league, and I'm really struggling now to debate whether that is because the inconsistency shows how competitive the league is outside of maybe the top 1 or 2 or maybe 3, or whether or not it makes it for a poor league. And I know that as soon as a Liverpool fan says, oh, it's because it's a poor league, every Arsenal fan jumps on it and goes, well, you weren't saying that last season. Well, okay, let's flip the script. Last season, you were saying it was a poor league. This season, you're not. So, again, it works both ways. But it's such an inconsistent run to finish in the top 5 that I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. I want to obviously back us and say that we should do. But it's going to be very, very awkward and difficult to finish there. I mean, let's just have a look at the fixtures coming up. So we've got Bournemouth. I'm talking mainly Premier League here. So we've got Bournemouth coming up this weekend. To finish off January, we are going up against Newcastle at home, which is going to be extremely tough. Then we have Man City. That's going to be extremely tough, obviously, for obvious reasons, regardless of the kind of form that City are in right now, which is, again, somewhat falling into the inconsistent category. Then we face Sunderland away from home. Sunderland, like I say, the only team other than Arsenal to be unbeaten at home this season. So, that's going to be extremely difficult for us. Then we've got Nottingham Forest the week after the FA Cup. We'll have Brighton on Valentine's Day in the FA Cup, but then the week after we face Nottingham Forest. Forest have always been our Achilles heel, so again, I'm not taking anything for granted there. West Ham follows the week after. Again, it really does depend on what. I mean, we should beat them at home, but let's face it, we should have beat Leeds at home. We should have beat Burnley at home. So I'm not taking anything for granted there. Wolves away from home on March the 4th. Who knows? By then, Wolves might be already down. Tottenham at home. Tottenham at home is probably the only game I'm confident in. And by that point, it's probably going to be a case of Tottenham might have a new manager by then. And then my confidence might be a little shook. So I've genuinely got no idea what to expect from that game either, even though it should be a game in which should be confident with. Brighton away from home. Who knows? Fulham away, Fulham at home, Merseyside derby away from home, Palace at home, Man United away from home, Chelsea at home, Villa away from home, and Brentford at home on the final day of the season. Those last 4 games, the Brentford game might be a bit of a dead rubber, obviously depending on where Brentford are and obviously what the situation is with us. But United away from home, followed by Chelsea, and then Aston Villa. That is 3 back-to-back horrible games to pretty much end the season, in which points might be vital and of the essence in order to finish in those Champions League places. Like you say, bro, I'm kind of siding more towards obviously the positive factor in terms of I think we will get Champions League football. But when you say that and you look at the games we have, I would not be surprised because, like I say, Chelsea, Man United, and Villa are probably going to be the teams that we're going to be battling to maintain in those Champions League places ahead of those teams. I know there's 5 places up for grabs. Villa, they might have Europa League commitments as well in between. It's going to be a very interesting battle, and those 3 games in particular are going to be massive in terms of determining who gets Champions League football and who doesn't. Big up Rodrigo's in the building. Hope you're doing well, my friend. 3-4 loss in the Premier League. We can say goodbye to European football, to Champions League football next season. Slot out, Alonso in now. If we want to have any hope of saving this season, and it's obviously not a guarantee, then yes, slot out, Alonso in straight away. I don't understand what we'll be waiting around for. I mean, this group wanted Alonso to begin with. This group wanted Alonso to begin with. This group, as soon as Klopp said he was leaving, they wanted Alonso. Us as fans, most of us wanted Alonso. And now that Alonso is available, now that Alonso is there for the taking, go and get him. Go and get him. This regime right now is not going to improve, in my opinion, under Arne Slot. This is the peak now. This is the peak. Boring football mixed with being somewhat difficult to beat, but we'll only turn up in certain games. We'll only turn up in certain games when we feel like it. It's one of those situations where I really am struggling to see a world in which this improves. And because of that, I just don't think it's going to improve. And if it's not going to improve, what's the point in sticking with it till the end? Make the call, which is why the title of the video is Time to Act. Time for Liverpool to act. We need to act fast on this. Like I say, I don't want this to be a missed opportunity. I don't want Alonso to be going to a Man United, a Bayern, I don't know, maybe a Man City at the end of the season if Guardiola was to leave. I don't want us to be in a year's time or 6 months' time or whatever, looking at this situation and going, this was a horribly missed opportunity because FSG, Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, and whoever else decided, no, we need to stick with this. It's ruthless, maybe. but it's what's best, in my opinion, for Liverpool Football Club. And that is something that I'll always want and back for my team. If I'm proven wrong in several months' time, I will stand by it, because I will still say I wanted this to happen. I may have been wrong. Fine. Shoot me down. God forbid someone was to get a prediction wrong. But at the end of the day, this is what, in my opinion, will be best for Liverpool Football Club. Thank you, Arne Slot, for winning us our 20th Premier League title. Absolutely incredible season. Brilliant memories. But unfortunately, it's time to go. You've changed Liverpool in terms of the squad. We had one of the most exciting and most insane transfer windows ever. And as well as in Liverpool Football Club's history, it was absolutely incredible just to be producing the kind of, talk, debate, content about the kind of players that we were interested in, and we actually went and bought. Usually it's just Liverpool are interested in this player. That would be incredible. But then that player goes elsewhere. This time it was Liverpool are after this player. Liverpool actually got that player. Wow, amazing. But it just hasn't worked out. It just, simply put, has not worked out. And it needs to change. It needs to change, in my opinion. All of this needs to change for the better. It needs to change for the better. It needs to change to improve Liverpool Football Club. And for me personally, look, again, I don't wish to completely disrespect Arne Slot. I think there is a good tactician in there with him. I think, though, that Slot's management style better suits a team that is punching upwards, which is what Liverpool were doing last season, because nobody really expected us to win the league. No one was expecting us to pick up from where Jurgen Klopp left off. We were punching upwards last season, than this season where we're punching down. I think Slot is better at doing that than doing that. And that's where I think, Slot will be fine. He can go off and he can go to another club that may be on the verge of winning leagues or doing something incredible. And maybe he will actually go and achieve it. But right now, with Liverpool Football Club, he's done his job. He's left us in a exciting, optimistic sort of approach in which a new manager will be able to take this team to new levels. We are still missing there is some gaps in this team still. I know rival fans will probably laugh at that, considering how much money we spent in the summer. But let's face it, we have got some underlying problems. The centre-back issues, we've gone over them 1,000,001 different times. Fullbacks could be a concern. DM is definitely an area we need to search for in the summer. There are some underlying issues, but for the most part, this is a side with a lot to give, a lot of optimism, a lot of excitement surrounding it, that just needs a manager that properly connects with the team, properly connects with the squad, and obviously someone that can bridge this ever-dividing gap between the fans and the club and the club again. We just need that again, and Slot just isn't the man to do it. You have to look at all of these different aspects, not just is he a good tactician. He may be a good tactician, but man management-wise, he's not it. He's not it, man management-wise. Especially not right now, at least. Carmino Pillar, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. I hope you're doing well, my friend. It says Bastoni going to Liverpool. You know what? I'd pray and I hope that would be the case, mate. I really do hope that is the case, because I think he's a terrific defender. Solid. good for the prime, but also got a few years ahead of him. I would hope and pray that that would be the case. However, getting him out of Inter, getting him out of Italy, that's going to prove to be extremely difficult. Extremely, extremely difficult. I don't know if that will actually happen or not. And as I said on Friday, I don't understand what the plan is. I don't understand what the plan is as far as what our centre-back options go. I really, really don't. We've obviously got a few stories buzzing around of potential interest in certain players, Bastoni being one of them. There's also Mickey van der Ven that we've heard about, and apparently he wants us, reportedly. But I guess we would appeal to anybody right now in that Tottenham team, considering where Tottenham are right now. So I guess that's not anything really to be, cheering about and being excited over, because anybody would take us over Tottenham right now. Even with how bad we are, Tottenham are much worse. I don't know what our options are going forward, and I don't even know if the club know. And the reason I say I don't even know if the club know is because they didn't see Mark Gahey, who went to Manchester City for £20 million. £20 million in just transfer fee alone, as a marketable opportunity. They did not see Mark Gahey for 20 million, even though we had agreed personal terms in the summer, even though we had agreed a fee of 35 million in the summer, even though he passed his medical in the summer, even though he was wearing Liverpool merchandise in the summer on deadline day, we did not see going in for Mark Gahey in January as a marketable opportunity. What on God's earth is our plan then for centre-back? What is it? What is it? Reports going around today saying that Liverpool and Konate are still far apart on agreeing a new deal. He'll be off in the summer. Gomez is injury prone. Leone's a kid who obviously has suffered a horrific injury that needs to be delicately recovered from. What are our options other to then go and splash out on another spending spree in the defence? The Mark Gahey thing still irritates me so much. So much. Still irritates me. City picked him up for 20 million. 20 million! And people are acting like Oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's only Mark Gahey. You weren't saying that in the summer when we were almost on the verge of buying him, were you? So why the change in attitude now? I don't get this. I really, really don't get this. I don't get why people have changed their tune on Gahey. I don't get why people are not bothered. I don't get why people aren't seeing the bigger picture here. Liverpool have got no contingency plan in place for anything at centre-back. Nothing at centre-back right now. If Van Dijk goes down injured, we're done for. We are 100% absolutely done for. If that happens, if that occurs, we are done for. But people are overlooking it. People are overlooking this position, this problem. And you've got Manchester City there picking up a Premier League proven centre-back who is good with the ball at his feet, good in the air, a leader, a captain, an England international for £20 million. 20 million. £20 million on that. It's a steal. It's daylight robbery. It's absolutely insane to me. And there were people in my stream on Friday that were saying, oh, but Fletch, he's gone there for 300k. No, he's not worth 300k. You want to know why Man City put 300k in his contract? You want to know why he's earning 300k a week? It's because of the cheapened price on the fee. Work it out, people. If he's earning 300k a week, in a year, he makes just under 16 million pounds. Just under 16 million pounds Mark Gahey will earn in a year. Now, if you times that 16 million by 5.5, that roughly works out at about 85 million pounds. Mark Gahey in 5.5 years, if he sees out this original contract, will earn 85 million pounds. Add that on top of the 20 million of the transfer fee, that's 105 million. That is a minimum of 105 million that City are willing to invest in Mark Gahey. Forget agent fees and all the other kind of fees that go along with it. That is 105 at the very least as your base minimum for the next 5.5 years on a defender that is going to probably see out 5.5 years at City and maybe even beyond, because he is 25 years of age and could probably go on to play at the top level for at least the next 7, 8, maybe even 9 years, depending on how obviously he thrives there, depending on obviously how well he keeps himself and his body and his mentality in check and all of that kind of stuff. That is a steal, because what Liverpool are now going to have to do is, I highly doubt that there is a defender that is either on the same level or even better than Mark Gahey for something 20 million or less. So what Liverpool are going to have to do now is they're going to have to find someone that is either on the same level or more than Mark Gahey, and they're going to have to buy him for double, triple, maybe even quadruple the amount that Manchester City bought Gahey for. Triple that amount in terms of transfer fee. Then they're going to want 200k a week, which we don't even want to give Konate 200k a week based on his performances this season. Can't really blame them. But it's not like we've got a lot of options that are coming out of our ears in terms of centre-backs. But who cares, right? Who cares? because we didn't see Mark Gahey as a marketable opportunity. What are we doing? What exactly are we doing here, people? It makes no sense to me whatsoever, this. It really, really doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Mark Gahey is a big, big, big missed opportunity, in my opinion, and we will end up regretting it. We will end up regretting it because we didn't pull the trigger early enough in the summer and we didn't go back in for him in January when the opportunity presented itself. Instead, we do the usual Liverpool thing. We sit on our hands and we wait and we hope. We hope that everybody else misses the opportunity. We hope that everybody else doesn't pull the trigger. We hope that everybody else is blind to the fact that this was a good opportunity, and we hope that we can just pick up the pieces at the end of it. We were hoping to shave off that 20 odd million and pick him up on a free transfer at the end of the season. That's what we were hoping for. And maybe there is an argument to maybe suggest that if injuries to Gvardiol and Diaz hadn't have happened, maybe we could have done. But there's a big opportunity and a big problem in that, in terms of that might not have happened because we have this manager that is managing us to a poor performance this season, even after spending 450 odd million in the summer, where we probably are going to end up this season empty-handed, trophyless, and the threat of Champions League football maybe not even being there for Liverpool next season, which I'm sure Gahey would love to jump at the chance of going to a Liverpool team with no Champions League football for his first season at the club. It's a complete and utter chaotic mess from top to bottom. It doesn't get sorted with Xabi Alonso. Let me just put that out there. Sacking Slot and bringing in Alonso does not sort the entirety of Liverpool's problems out 100%, but it's a start. It's a start in solving them issues. Because right now, I look at this Liverpool team, I don't see much hope for the likes of Rio Engamoa. Don't see much hope for the likes of Federico Chiesa, who gives it 100% every time he's on the pitch. Don't see a lot of hope for the progression of the likes of Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez. It's just very, very dismal right now. It's just very, very dismal right now, and something that I'm just not entirely looking forward to at all going forward. It's something that I just don't see a bright light at the end of this dark tunnel. Like, I want to see it. I want to see a bright light at the end of the tunnel. But it's difficult. It's difficult when your youngsters are not getting the game time they deserve. It's difficult when you see underwhelming, underperforming players play week in, week out. It's difficult to see the progression of someone like Ryan Gravenberch, who was absolutely amazing last season, but you can see this season either his legs are going or he's getting found out a lot. That's a problem that I think we need to talk about as well. Ryan Gravenberch at some point. I feel like we need to buy a proper DM for his position, because I feel like there is a place for Ryan Gravenberch. But again, I feel like he's played that much football over these past couple of years that we're in danger of burning him out way, 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 way too soon. So, I don't know, people. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Because I feel for the welfare and the well-being of these players. I feel for the progression of these players. And in terms of bringing players in, you can't be telling me that they're not looking at the prospect of joining Liverpool and looking at what some of these other players are going through that are already there and going, actually, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to go over here instead. I'm going to stay here instead. I'm going to go to this club instead. That's my fear for the future of Liverpool Football Club. And even then, even after all of that, the manager remains in charge. Like I say, we are currently 14 points off of top spot Arsenal. We are 7 points behind Manchester City and Aston Villa in second and third, respectively. We are fourth, 1 point clear of Man United, 2 points clear of sixth place Chelsea, and 3 points clear of seventh place Brentford. We've got a FA Cup fourth round tie against Brighton coming up soon. And in the Champions League, we are currently 9th, which is a spot outside of the top 8 that qualify, with a game against 16th place Marseille, who have played 6, won 3, and lost 3. And the situation is pretty much in our hands. I don't know anymore, man. Like I say, I'm losing my enthusiasm for this team. I don't want to. I hate that I'm even saying that. But I genuinely am losing my enthusiasm for this team, this club. Not playing good football is just the main issue. It's not about necessarily winning or losing to an extent. It's mainly about the level of football. The level of football, which is boring, which is terrible, which we've been praying and hoping for it to improve as the season's gone on. But it hasn't. It's been dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Dean asks, where is Liverpool's vision? Well, both really can be questioned. But yeah, I agree. I'm fearful of my mental health. If that's basically just down to football, I feel you. Obviously, if it's being genuine, talk to someone, my dude. Always here. I'm sure the community is as well. But yeah, I agree, man. Like, I'm not looking forward to it. So Marseille's coming up. How are we all feeling for Marseille? Are we feeling confident? I'm not. Like I say, Marseille are playing some really good football. De Zerbi's got them playing some really good football. We obviously know about De Zerbi from his time at Brighton, so we know that that's not exactly like a hidden secret or anything like that. We know that De Zerbi does play some nice and attractive football, attacking-minded football at times. And if they are going to be moving the ball quickly, if they are going to be as sharp and as energetic and as physical as what I'm imagining Marseille to be, then they really could pose some real problems for Liverpool. And this is where I fear that Liverpool might have to go into a game that they don't want to go into. We don't obviously want to go into an extra game that we don't have to play. That's why we need to win this game and give us a best possible chance, an opportunity to obviously play in the last 16 without having to play this knockout to the knockout stages. We really do need to win this game. But I genuinely don't know. The upside in this game is that Salah's back. Hopefully. Maybe. Potentially. Salah back for this game, I think. I'm just double checking and see if we're right on this. So looks like we haven't made a decision yet on whether or not that will be the case. And I've just seen something that is incredibly stupid. But yes, really looking forward to seeing if Salah is back. Hopefully he is. It'll be the only upside to this game. But I can just imagine it right now that this unbeaten run we're on right now, if we are to lose and Salah comes back, everybody's going to be there. All the journalists, everybody associated with the club, well, not just with the club, but just in mainstream media, are going to be there waiting to pounce on this situation and say that Mo Salah is the reason why Liverpool lost. They didn't lose before. They were on an unbeaten run before. But that's why they lost. And the reason I say that is because Sky Sports have put out a video saying, could Mo Salah's return disrupt Liverpool's momentum? What momentum? Momentum is like a gradual progression. Momentum is like it's a gradual sort of a gradual build up of something. Like, we've got no momentum whatsoever. We're just on an unbeaten run, which is very, very underwhelming and somewhat undeserving. What momentum has Mo Salah got to disrupt here? What momentum? Why Sky Sports, honestly, just their coverage of things is just so dire and dreadful. It's unbelievable. I'm gonna just say ZYX Ility. I don't know how you pronounce your name. If you've got a name that you want to go by, my friend, feel free to drop it in the chat. But big up to you, bro. Hope you're doing well on this Tuesday morning. It says, why do you support Liverpool? Because we win or we play gegenpress. I support Liverpool because they were the first team that I watched play football when I was 3, maybe 4 years old. I loved Michael Owen at the time. Michael Owen, I watched Michael Owen play and he made me fall in love with football. Then, of course, broke my heart when I was a kid, moving to Real Madrid. But I stuck with Liverpool. Then, obviously, moved on to my new hero, Steven Gerrard. Love Steven Gerrard. And yeah, that's why I support Liverpool. And obviously, win, lose, or draw, they will always, always, always be my team. But that doesn't mean that I can't lose enthusiasm in my team based on the way that we play. Like, obviously, I'd love to win every game, but I know that's not possible. I also know that it's not possible to play well in every single game. But I would like us to play well and win the majority of our games. And maybe those two things don't necessarily intertwine all the time. Maybe we win games whilst not playing well, and maybe we lose games when we play well. But because those are like those are the kinds of swings and roundabouts about football. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I love Liverpool. I love football. So that's just mainly the reason why. Like, it's nothing to do with just I just want to win every single game. It's about the journey. Otherwise, if it was about the kind of standards of just winning, why doesn't everybody just jump team every single year? Why doesn't everybody just become Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, Bayern? Why wasn't no one for the past 5 years before Liverpool won the league last year a Man City fan? It's why this whole standards FC and winning means everything and anything less is losing. It makes it no sense, because football would not survive if that was the case. If everyone had that mentality of just, I only support a team that's winning, no one would be supporters of Macclesfield Town, Mansfield, MK Dons, Newport, Wigan, Bolton. No one would be supporters of them teams, with all due respect. Football would die. Football would die a horrible, horrible death if that was the case. It's looking dark, bro. Hopefully FSG act ASAP. Well, they should have acted a long time ago. They should have acted a long time ago. They should have acted after Manchester United. They didn't. They should have acted after Nottingham Forest. They didn't. And they most definitely should have acted after PSV. And they didn't. It's basically the reason why I am worried that they are not going to act at all until either it's too late or we've just written off a season, which is the most stupidest thing ever, considering that we spent a long time renegotiating the contracts of two players whose careers are winding down to their conclusions. We spent so long negotiating the contracts of the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah that we've just wasted an entire year of those contracts because this club just failed to act. This club failed to act when they had the perfect opportunity to do so, to maximize the contract potential and, of course, the influence that both of those key players have on this squad, on this team, and on this club. We have missed the boat. We have missed a huge opportunity, and it's not for the first time that we have done that. If you want to support Liverpool when they only win, I don't think Liverpool needs supporters like that. That's not me, bro. Like I say, there are, and I feel like every fan base probably has supporters that basically only tune in when they're winning. I'll tune in whether we win, lose, or draw. But at the same time, in saying that, I can basically I can have the opinion or the feeling that there are games that I will go into this season and I will either be not confident in winning, or I will go into it and go, you know what, I'll still watch the game, but I really can't be bothered to watch another 90 minutes of dire, boring, uneventful football, which will probably put me to sleep. I can still go into it with that feeling. That's just the way that I see it. People were telling Salah out before. Now suddenly you guys want him in, and if he doesn't perform up to par, you guys will again be Salah out, just like you guys doing Gakpo now. No, the point of the whole Salah thing is that he was out of the team when playing poorly. Now, no Liverpool fan denied that Salah probably shouldn't be out of the team for a game or two. No Liverpool fan denied that because he wasn't playing well. And no Liverpool fan ever wants a player to have the belief that he is untouchable, to have the belief that he deserves to be in the team no matter what. That's why when he did his interview and he basically seemingly alluded to the fact that based on his reputation, he deserves to be in the team, a lot of Liverpool fans went, that may be overstepping the mark a bit. That may be stretching things a little bit. That was probably not the right thing to say. That's what a lot of Liverpool fans said at the time. And I, for one, was one of them. The problem with it is that if you set the precedent that you are dropping players based on performances, Konate's been poor for most of this season. Why isn't he being dropped? Van Dijk's been poor. Why isn't he being dropped? McAllister was the same at a certain point. Gravenberch was the same at a certain point. Gakpo was the same at a certain point. All of these players were poor at various points during the season, but not one of them was dropped unless, of course, injury occurred. That was the point. And Mo Salah wasn't even getting on the pitch from being a substitute, which is why he didn't feature against West Ham. It's why he didn't feature against Leeds. That was the game. Leeds. And why he didn't feature against Leeds. But there's no incentive to play well. Look at Federico Chiesa. He gives it 100% every single game. He saved Arne Slot's job in the game against Sunderland by clearing a goal-bound effort off the line in the dying stages of the game. How is he rewarded in the next game? By not touching the pitch at all. But yet Cody Gakpo, who had an absolute shocker in that same Sunderland game, hooked off at half-time, started and played the vast majority of that game against Leeds. That was the point that we were all talking about. If Salah comes back and he plays poorly again, fine, fair enough. We'll all say, like, maybe he does need to be dropped. Maybe you do need to bring someone else in, a Chiesa, a Ngamoa, someone that will give 100%. But the fact of the matter is that Salah this season has still been creating opportunities. He's still been one of our most lively and dangerous players. And yet he is a victim of his own success. Just because he's not as influential as what he was last year or the year before or the year before or the year before. That is why people are looking at him right now and going, well, he's not been that great, has he? So he's obviously lost it. He's obviously passed it. And Liverpool fans need to move on. Look at the bigger picture. Why is he not playing very well? Oh, because the system's letting him down. It's letting a lot of other players down. Why is he not playing well? Because for some reason, he's playing further outside of those dangerous areas where he likes to create and he likes to be an influence and he likes to score goals than what he was ever doing before. It's a lot more than just looking at his numbers. It's about looking at the overall play. And it's about looking at the system, the style, and what Slot is doing to this guy. This Slot system has got the inverted fullbacks playing closer to the goal than our main goal scorer and provider of the past several years. Deep that. Has Salah been amazing? No. No one is going to delude themselves to the point where they're saying, no, Salah's been amazing this season. He's been perfect. No one is saying that. But has he been as bad as what a lot of people have made him out to be? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There are bigger problems at play. There are bigger issues at play at Liverpool. There are players that are more deserving of criticism that are getting away with it. But yet Salah is the poster boy. Salah's the scapegoat. And that was the main reason why he came out and did the interview that he did. That is the main reason why he said the things that he did. And there you have it. That's the reality of the situation. I'm going to Vinov. I'm going to just say Vinov. I do, again, apologize if I'm butchering the name, my friend. I do really apologize. I am so not good with names. Big up Vinov, who's in the building, says that you guys need a shite-housing player. No one in Liverpool is combative player, not even none of your centre-backs. This is what I agree with. I do agree with this in the sense that if a team is very physical with us, we cower away. If a team is very physical with us in terms of winning the first ball, winning the second ball, we cower away. Like so many times we go to a team that has got a player like that and we just simply don't want the physical battle. We don't want to contest that. Like occasionally Konate and Van Dijk will, but it's very, very rare that that does happen. It's very, very rare that that will be the case. But that's just our defence. Our midfield, we don't really have anyone like that. Like Gravenberch, again, if he wants to get stuck in, he can do. But it doesn't happen regularly enough. It doesn't happen regularly enough. So I do agree with you. We need someone like that, especially not for every game. I think it's a situational kind of player where for the kinds of games in which you need someone like that in midfield, you're going to use him. Endo would be good, but someone who is more younger, more mobile and quicker. But we don't really have that. We don't really have that. But it would be nice to have a situational player like that in the team. I do agree. Liverpool have won 2 titles in 35 years. One was led by Arne Slot. Doesn't deserve the disrespect. Yeah, and guess what? No other manager has had as much money thrown at one transfer window as much as what Arne Slot has had. And yet we have gone backwards. Yet we have gone back to the end of the Brendan Rodgers era in terms of how poor we are playing, in terms of how dreadful we look, and in terms of how underwhelming we are right now. So I guess on some level, he kind of does deserve the criticism. Entitled fans. In what sense? In what sense that we want the best for Liverpool Football Club? Doesn't everybody want the best for their own football club? No, Salah has been shite. Again, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But if you think that he is the be-all and end-all reason as to why Liverpool haven't been great this season, then I can't help you. Maybe Specsavers can. I don't know. But again, it's a case of Salah's not been our worst player. He's not been our best player. He's not been our worst player. He's a victim of his own success. He is not in any way, shape or form the main reason as to why Liverpool have been poor. There are underlying problems as to why we have been poor this season. Salah has dropped off, but I do feel like a big reason and a big part, not the only part, but a big part of that is because of the style that we're playing, the setup that we're playing. and the way that everybody in this Liverpool team looks just as poor as what he does. It's not an individual thing, because if it was, it would just be one or two individuals and not everybody in that team. Not everybody in that team, but it is everybody in the team. You can maybe say Ekitike is an exception. You can maybe say Szoboszlai up until recently was an exception. But everybody else in that team looks underwhelming. Everybody in that team looks poor. That's not an individual thing. That's not a player thing, because we know how good these players are. That is a coaching thing. That is down to the root cause of the head coach, Arne Slot. Missing every easy chance. Yeah, Salah misses chances like anybody else does. I've seen Haaland miss chances that have been very easy. So what? It happens. Liverpool might give Slot another season to gauge whether he can challenge the title, and they decide whether to sack him or not, which makes sense. As for now, it's a rebuild. Expect bad performances. Big up Void the Killer. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I don't think we can wait. I don't think we can wait, because as much as you say it's a rebuild, the main spine of the team was there. The main spine of the team has been there all season. Alisson, Van Dijk, Konate, McAllister, Gravenberch, Salah. Them 6 players alone, the main spine of the team. If you want to take some parts out, you can maybe even throw Robertson in there. You can maybe throw even more experienced players in there, like Joe Gomez, for example, like Cody Gakpo, for example. If you wanted to, the main spine of the team is still there to challenge, and we've not challenged. Like, if we weren't to win the title this season, fine, fair enough, but you at least needed to, at the very least, challenge right the way through until the final day of the season. Top 4 is not good enough for a side that won the title last year and went and spent 450 million on established players. Established players, not like kids. We haven't done a Chelsea project of turning our football club into like an orphanage, or some of them might still have parents, but like a kids' home. We've not done what Chelsea have done. We've actually spent the money on the vast majority of them being established players. One of the best playmakers in the entirety of football these past few years, topped with one of the best strikers in world football these past few years, on top of one of the best promising young strikers in the past few years. Those 3 mainly, along with an incredible, explosive right back, and of course, the best left back in the Premier League last season in a lot of people's eyes. It's not as if we've spent money on unproven talent. Yes, there is still a long way to go for some of these players. They can reach new heights. They can take their games to whole new levels. Of course they can. But for the most part, these are players that are established. These are players that have been playing at the top of their game for a while. And we've still got a spine of players that are top quality, top class. And it has been ruined. It has been ruined this season by a manager who has decided to get rid of everything that worked for us last season and stick with what didn't work for us last season. That's just my opinion. Like I say, you're entitled to have your own opinion. You're entitled to obviously challenge me, and I welcome the challenge. But that's just the way that I personally see it. That's just the way that I see what our issues are. Like you say, I can understand why people from the outside looking in might see it as harsh. I can understand why people from the outside looking in might be going, he's just won you a Premier League title. Why aren't you giving him more time? Why don't you give him more respect? I can understand that to a certain degree. but scratch beneath the surface and you'll understand why Liverpool fans are not happy this year. Vino says expectations of fans doesn't mean entitlement if you spend big and having a good squad. Yeah. There aren't going to be too many fans that are going to be happy spending 450 odd million in one summer and be happy with just finishing fourth. Chelsea have spent 2 billion in 3.5, 4 years or whatever it is. You think they're happy? You think they're happy with their current position? No, of course not. Arsenal have spent 1 billion since Mikel Arteta's taken charge and has only got one FA Cup to show for it. Do you think Arsenal fans are happy that it's taken them this long to get in a position where the chips and the cards have fallen perfectly for Arsenal to possibly be crowned Premier League champions in the 6th time of asking for Mikel Arteta? Of course not. They'll be happy when it eventually happens, of course. But it's taken them 6 years to get there. You still expect better from a player on 350k a week? Yeah, and no one's denying that. No one is denying that Salah should be playing better. But there are underlying issues as to why he is being hindered this season. Like I say, and it's not just Salah as well, but the entire team has been underwhelming. The entire team hasn't performed to the level that we expect from them or we know they can play to. And that's a problem. If it was just one or two players, you can probably put it down to individuals and say, he's not performing very well, this is on him. This person's not performing well, that's on them. But it's the entire team. It's the entire team. Barring maybe one or two exceptions here and there, it's the entire team. This is what I've been saying all season long. The entire team is struggling. And when the entire team struggles, the root cause of those issues is mainly the manager. And it doesn't matter what team it is. If the same issues are happening at any other team, it's the same at every other team. It's the same at every other team. Simple as that. If Liverpool don't get top four or a good run in the Champions League, then I agree, sack Slot. Anyway, have a good day, man. Have a good day yourself, my dude. It's always good to talk football and have challenges like that. I'm not oblivious to why people would be slotting in terms of people from the outside looking in. I expect somewhat better from Liverpool fans in this conversation. But I do understand that if you are from the outside looking in, if you're a fan of a rival club and you want to put banter aside for this conversation, I understand. But I expect better from Liverpool fans in this. I kind of do. Are you on Facebook? I'm not on Facebook, I'm afraid. I very, very rarely use it. Very rarely use it. X, though, I am. I don't remember my at off the top of my head, but I am on X, and might just be Flex 96 actually. But yeah, I'm on X, and obviously the YouTube. Fairs, mate. Yeah, I appreciate your challenge, mate. I appreciate the challenge, and like I say, from the outside looking in, I get the argument to keep Slot. I do, because again, it goes back to this whole standards thing that really does annoy me. It's like, he won you a Premier League title. Most fans would love to see that in their lifetime. You've got to see it twice in 5 years. You should be happy. I am happy. I am so glad. I'm so happy that we won the league title last year. It was absolutely amazing in all different aspects. What happened during it, what happened when it was happening and what happened afterwards were all absolutely phenomenal. But you can't just keep living off nostalgia. You can't just keep living off of past results. You have to obviously keep moving forward in football because, as I said earlier, things can change very, very quickly. And what's obviously happened and changed very quickly in these aspects are that Liverpool Football Club have since moved on. We have since gone on to spend massively in the summer, and we've been left shortchanged in terms of what we've seen on the pitch this season. We've been left shortchanged in terms of excitement, entertainment, and above all, success, which is something that obviously Liverpool have built themselves upon. And not only that, but in terms of what we spent in the summer, we need to see the rewards of what has been put into the hard work of it all. That obviously has not happened. Guys, make sure you are liking, subscribing on the video and the channel. Really do appreciate each and every single one of you being here. Big up to you all. Hope you're all doing well on this Tuesday morning. We're going to go for a little bit longer before I have to skedaddle. I've not ever used the word skedaddle until that point. What is wrong with me? Liverpool's problem is always not securing the contracts of top players in time, like Trent, Salah, Konate. How this club is considered well run. In other aspects, it is somewhat well run, but I agree with you. Like, and here's the thing as well. Before Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes came in last season, we obviously had incredible amounts of like turmoil and all kinds of crazy shenanigans going on behind the scenes. Because obviously Klopp wanted more power, he wanted more say in transfers and that kind of thing. People weren't willing to necessarily work with that. Klopp brought in his own people. So it wasn't exactly well run under Jurgen Klopp either. It's just that we were getting away with it because Klopp was playing good football. Klopp was a good motivator. Klopp got them players running through brick walls. Even when Klopp, this is the difference between Klopp and Slot. Even when Klopp wasn't in like the best of form in terms of his squad wasn't in the best of form, it wasn't through the lack of effort or trying. It was just the players' legs had gone. That was mainly the problem under Klopp whenever he wasn't playing very well. It was just the players needed freshening up. And that was probably down to Klopp a lot, and Klopp took responsibility for that. But for Slot, it's a different situation. Slot has the players. Slot has the opportunities. Slot has the potential of rotation and the options to shape things up. But he's not doing it because he's not motivating the players enough. There's no motivation there. There's no change. He's doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. And so it's a bit of the players, but it's also a bit of the manager as well, in my opinion. Not proven, but like I said, that's just the way that I'm looking at it from the outside looking in. I don't want to butcher your name, my friend, but big up for being here. Like I say, if you've got a preferred name that you want to go by, make sure to stick it in the chat. But I do genuinely apologize for not being able to comprehend the name that is before me right now. But big up to you. Thank you for being here. Really do appreciate it. Chiesa's situation, slop sucks, period, is what you got to say here. And I've been so frustrated with the whole Chiesa situation. It's such a shame that it looks like he's going to leave at the end of the season. The only thing that I will say for Chiesa and this goes for all players that are maybe considering leaving Liverpool, is that if they hold on a little while longer, there is a very good chance that they will outlast the manager. The likes of Chiesa, even if Harvey Elliott is to come back, by the way, maybe Kostas Tsimikas as well. If all of these players come back, there's a good possibility that they outlast Arne Slot at Liverpool. And that could be a good thing going forward because a new manager might take a shine to them. Xabi Alonso, for example, could come in and go, right, I like Harvey Elliott. I'm going to play him a lot more. I like Federico Chiesa. I'm going to play him as left winger more often. That's the only thing I will say to these players that are maybe looking at leaving because of the treatment of Arne Slot. They might outlast the manager. So don't be making too many hasty decisions about where your footballing future may lie and things like that. Look at Man United right now. Look at the situation Kobbie Mainoo found himself in under Ruben Amorim. All of a sudden, Amorim's gone. Mainoo gets thrown back in against Manchester City. He plays very, very well in that game. And it looks like, don't want to speak too soon or anything, but it looks like he could be a major player for United towards the end of this season and maybe even beyond, depending on obviously who comes in as the permanent manager of Manchester United going forward. That is what a new manager can do for certain players. And Chiesa may be one of them. Tsimikas may be another. Harvey Elliott may be a third. Who knows? Who knows? Gahey getting 300k plus a week. How does anybody compete with that? Like I say, the only reason he's being allowed to get 300k a week is because the original price was low on his transfer fee. As I've already stated, 300k a week over the course of a year is roughly just under £16 million that Mark Gahey will be getting into his bank account by the end of the year. You then times that by the 5.5-year contract that he's on, it works out at just over £85 million. So he'll be getting £85 million, 20 million. Add 20 million for his transfer fee. It's £105 million that Manchester City have spent as a minimum on this fee. And even then, he may not survive the full 5.5 years. 2 or 3 years' time, City might move him on elsewhere. But by then, who knows? Because they could get a lot more money for him. And they probably will get a lot more money for him if they decided to sell him on. Because if they sold him on, the minimum you'd probably get for Gahey would probably be 50-odd million. As a minimum. If you moved him on in like 2.5 years' time, say, City would probably demand 50 million. Someone's probably going to spend 50 million. So it would be an incredible, it would work out extremely well financially for Manchester City, regardless of what happens going forward. Which is why, you know, the people that are like, net spend. If you isolate it in very, very basic terms, yes, it is a thing. But you're not taking into account then the bigger picture. And because you're not taking into account the bigger picture, it's why things like the Mark Gahey situation happen and people don't understand why it is happening. People go, well, how can you compete with that? You can compete because financially it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense for you to put an offer on the table that Mark Gahey can't refuse because you're not necessarily losing out on a lot of money, but you've got a lot to gain, especially further on down the line. You've got a brilliant player for the here and now, but you also have the potential of making more money out of that player in a couple of years' time than you would have if you bought him at the full proper price. You wouldn't pay him as much, but you would guarantee it for the immediate future. It's why it is able to be done. I think Liverpool has struggled because we got rid of Trent. I'm really regretting Liverpool selling Trent. Nothing we could have done. Nothing we could have done about it. Trent wanted to leave. It looks like from the outside looking in, he's regretting it as well, by the way. It doesn't exactly look like it's all sunshine and rainbows and the grass was always greener on the other side, which is a lot of what we said, actually. A lot of what we said was the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and that he probably should have looked at Philip Coutinho as Exhibit A in that regard. But yes, it is true. We are missing a lot of Trent's creativity. I do think that Wirtz would have loved to have played with Trent. I feel like Wirtz would have loved to have played with Trent. Isak definitely would have done. Ekatike would have loved it as well. I feel like those three players in particular would have loved to have played with Trent. But yeah, it isn't to be. It isn't to be. It is what it is. Any incoming for Liverpool this window, or Slot not to be trusted with any more money? It's an interesting topic to talk about, really, because obviously it looked for a while like we were going to go back in for Gahey. That didn't obviously happen. Liverpool said it was not a marketable opportunity, which I find to be a lot of BS, in all honesty, because, you know, it's a massive opportunity that we just haven't taken. And then obviously the Semenyo deal fell through as well, even though reportedly we were looking at Semenyo and there was a lot to maybe discuss there as far as what Semenyo was concerned. So maybe they have withdrawn money, and maybe it is because of the way that Slot's obviously playing this season. But I don't know if that is the case, because I always say, like, you don't build a squad for a manager. You build a squad for an identity. You build a squad for your long-term envisionment of Liverpool Football Club. And all the manager or head coach does is they come in, they see that envisionment, and they go, right, we'll play this way, but there's going to be a couple of tweaks to put my own kind of stamp on things, which is why Klopp, when he came in, kind of set that precedent down. Slot coming in and picking up where he left off aided us to a point where it wasn't like we were starting from scratch. It was just Klopp coming. It was just Slot coming in, picking up from Klopp and going, right, all the good stuff of Klopp we'll take forward, but I just want to tweak a few things, which is why we were able to win the league last season. And then this season, it's completely started from scratch. Slot's gone, rip all that up, toss it aside, and do it my way. Oh, look, my way doesn't work. Oh, look, we beat Real Madrid, but that wasn't through my way. That was through getting rid of my principles and winning through whichever way means necessary. Oh, look at that, we beat Inter as well. Again, not through Slot style, but through him getting rid of his principles and doing something out of desperation to kind of save his job. Okay. Cool. So it is an interesting debate as to whether or not he's lost the backing of the board in terms of the money aspect, and we're just riding it out. But I always think it's a dangerous precedent to set, because you miss out on so many opportunities when you just decide you're not having any more money and therefore no more players, because it's harming the long-term aspect of the football club. It's also dangerous because if you're not trusting him with any more money, why are you still then trusting him to carry out the job in the first place? Surely you just get rid of him you bring in a new manager, and then therefore you don't have to do this whole thing of we'll get rid of this transfer window. It's not really us. We'll get rid of it. We don't care. We're not in it. We're not involved. It's a missed opportunity. A horrible, horrible missed opportunity. Big up, bro. How you doing? Well, lovely to have you here with us. It says, can someone take control of this football club and sack Hughes and Slot? Seems like too much to ask, doesn't it? It seems like it's too much to ask for certain people. Oh, it's a nightmare, mate. It's a nightmare. Would you have Trent back if he wants to come back, or is there too much water under the bridge? It's an interesting one. It's very much an interesting one. He'd have a lot to do to win over some uncertain fans. For me personally, like I say, I sat on the fence very much when it came to the whole Trent thing. Like I say, I saw why he would want to leave, but I also said that it was probably not the right call to leave. And I also saw it from the perspective of Liverpool fans as well, because I understand that you can't be saying the things that he was saying in terms of this means more. I want to do this one day with Liverpool. I want to lead the team out. I want to lead them to glory. I want to be the captain. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do the other. And then completely get rid of all of that stuff as soon as Real Madrid come calling. I, for one, would be okay with him coming back, but I can understand again why a lot of fans wouldn't. And again, it's not through it's not through hatred. I don't have hatred. I have frustration, but it's not through hatred. It's not through hatred with him. I have frustration and confusion, not through hatred though. But I think a lot of Liverpool fans wouldn't probably see it that way. So it does make it a very intriguing topic of discussion. But yeah, as I said, the type of player that he is, I'd be happy to have that type of player back. But he's got a lot of making up to do. A whole lot of making up to do. But it probably would never happen anyway. It probably never happened. Cheers, mate. Good convo. Yeah, I welcome it, mate. I appreciate you. I appreciate you getting involved, and I appreciate the talking points you brought up. A lot of interesting stuff. And like I say, I love getting into conversations like that because it always is intriguing as to the perspective of other people, whether you are from the Liverpool fan base or you're outside the Liverpool fan base. It's always interesting to see and to know and to kind of understand and feel. It's one of the reasons why I like following other content creators that are probably not Liverpool fans. I like to get an insight into other clubs and what they're going through right now. I've said it before, like I watch a bit of Mark Goldbridge from time to time just to get a perspective on Man United. Like I say, I'm not a United fan, but I like seeing the perspective of other fans and seeing what they're going through and how they're seeing things. And then, of course, you can draw comparisons and parallels and, differences between their clubs and your own. But, yeah, like I say, I appreciate you being involved. I appreciate you being here, my friend. And hope to see you again soon. Look, we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Good talk. Very, very good talk. Like I say, talking a lot about how Liverpool need to act. Talking a lot about Arne Slot. Looked a little bit ahead at the Liverpool and Marseille games. Like I say, I hope Liverpool win. I never go into a game wanting Liverpool to lose. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Big up to each and every single one of you, including obviously Dean here. Says thanks. I see you soon, my friend. See you soon too, bro. Take care of yourself, and thank you for being here, my friend. Always good to talk some football with you. Like I say, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. Thank you all once again for being here. Thank you all once again for getting involved and all of that kind of good stuff. Thank you all for the love and support on the channel. And I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again in the next one.